You have to wake up out of that collective stream of thinking, which was taught to you by someone else who was engulfed in the stream of thinking, and that was taught to them by someone else who was engulfed in the stream of thinking. It's quite interesting to look at. But waking up out of that complete identification with thought means that you have gone deeper in awareness of your mind. And you started to notice that you are not your mind. You are the awareness behind it. Because without the awareness behind the thoughts, there wouldn't be the thoughts. There needs to be the awareness or consciousness that you are for the thoughts to even exist. Waking up really means to wake up out of the complete identification with the stream of thinking. In other words, you wake up from being possessed, absolutely possessed by your thought process. That is not the true reality of existence. Thought is ultimately from the past. Because if you look at it, when you were very young, 2, 3 months, 5 months, even a year old, you didn't have many thoughts, but you still had a reality. Yes, you had not been conditioned. You have not been, let's say, looped into that stream of thinking, which people identify with themselves. Your thought process is ultimately a tool to help you navigate on this planet. It is not who you are. Most people still get that confused. And so when things happen, situations occur, the thought process starts up depending upon the situation, and you completely get entangled in that thought process, and then it becomes your reality. This is bad, this is good. So waking up means to see that you can be identified with your stream of thinking, ultimately possessed by it, can cause mental breakdown, depression, anxiety, suicide. And those are deep forms of mental suffering, where you're completely engulfed in the stream of thinking and you allow it to control your inner beingness. Ultimately, at that point where you're completely identified, you are completely asleep. So that's why we may refer to it as waking up, because you wake up out of that deep sleep of identification with thought. Being able to see that there is some sort of mental virus going on where people don't see that they can be completely identified by their thought, leaves us more likely to cause havoc on the planet. As you see, we've been doing mostly, if you read human history. Here and there's been some people who became more aware of that, stepping out of the stream of thinking. Jesus, a few people, Buddha, I think. There's a few people more. And they've began to share it with other people. But at the same time, the people who they were sharing it with looked for the awakening to happen on the outside. When is the kingdom of heaven coming? They asked Jesus. When will it be here? I think he said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Most people didn't understand that because their attention was projected on their environments on the outside. So they may not have recognized that you have to wake up out of that collective stream of thinking, which was taught to you by someone else who was engulfed in the stream of thinking, and that was taught to them by someone else who was engulfed in the stream of thinking. It's quite interesting to look at. But waking up out of that complete identification with thought means that you have gone deeper in awareness of your mind. And you started to notice that you are not your mind. You are the awareness behind it. Because without the awareness behind the thoughts, there wouldn't be the thoughts. There needs to be the awareness or consciousness that you are for the thoughts to even exist, so to speak. So, ultimately, there's a few ways to become more in touch with that conscious awareness state of being, where you're aware of what your mind is doing. You learn how to step out of it at times and become more fully aligned with the reality that is now. You can pay attention to the rhythm of your breathing. That allows you to step out briefly. You can feel the inner aliveness of your hands. Usually the hands are quite easy. You have a lot of nerve endings in the fingertips. You can feel the energy flow. That'll shift your attention from the continuous thought to just being. And then at that point you have waken up. You have woken up out of that continuous stream of thinking, especially, well, not only when it's negative, but occasionally when you're doing something, so to speak, fun. Still, step out. 1 or 2 seconds, that's all. Occasionally, 1 or 2 seconds. Step out of the stream of thinking. That way you're not continuously pulled along by your stream of thinking, and you completely lose awareness and go back to sleep. Thank you.